So, Toby, do you know what the highest budget film of the year was?
I'd imagine it was the last part of The Hobbit. The whole trilogy cost about 670, $80 million. So maybe 250,
Yeah,
something like
bang,
that.
bang on. Hobbit 3, 250
Yeah,
million.
yeah.
And here's
Lots
the
of CGI
yeah,
hobbits and
lots of CGI
orcs
Hobbits.
and yeah.
Indeed. So,
They cost quite a bit, you know. Yeah.
well, apparently so. So the question is, do you know how much the combined total of all of the films for Best Picture combined came out at?
Well, I could. If you gave me 5 minutes, I could work it out. But okay, I'll guess. Hmm, it's probably about 250 actually.
Yeah, you're bang on. It's 266.5
Yeah.
million.
Okay.
See, when I was researching
Yeah.
this, I was thinking I'm onto a winner here. This stat's going to be brilliant. It's going to come in at under 250 million. Like it'd be, here's a great stat for all the listeners out there. All the Best Picture nominations cost less than The Hobbit. Unfortunately, it went just over. Grand Budapest Hotel just knocked it over the edge.
Yeah.
So, on that note, we're going to be looking at what if, seeing as all of the Best Picture nominations were relatively meagre in budget. I think American Sniper
Yeah.
originally came out just under
I
60 million.
Yeah. Yeah.
Compared to the big Hollywood hitters of recent years, and of course The Hobbit this year, they're all, fairly low budget.
Yeah, I'd agree. Absolutely, I was quite surprised, and especially being that the probable winner came in at about 4 million.
Yeah,
You know.
precisely. We have Boyhood.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do today is we're going to have a bit of a think about how the Best Picture nominations would be if they had a Hobbit-like budget of 250 million. We'll start with, well, top of the list, the favourite for the Oscar Best Film, which was Boyhood. That had a very minimalistic budget of $4 million. So I suppose the question to ask you, Toby, is what do you reckon Boyhood, what would they have done? What would have Linklater done with Boyhood if he had $250 million to spend on that production?
Well, they filmed for just 2 weeks each year for 12 years. So I suppose if he did have unlimited funds, he would have had a film crew ready for 52 weeks of the year, and he could have just turned up and said, "Right, we're filming this scene now."
Filmed it straight for 12 years.
Just brought
and just massive editing afterwards.
Yeah, just brought in the crew and the actors and said, "Right, I've just got this idea of this scene here now. We're going to do it now at this age that you are." Yes, it would have been a massive editing job. It would have had hundreds
and millions of hours of material to
so,
edit down.
So that yeah.
You reckon no CGI? You wouldn't have got any big John Williams in to do a score for it or anything like that. A nice orchestral number.
Yes, he could have improved the music. Yeah, I'd say. Yeah, that would have been. Yeah, he could have. Yes, employed a better, possibly a better.
Okay, but do you think that? I mean, 4 million is obviously good value for money given the quality of the film. Yeah. Would you say that actually would Boyhood have actually been any better with any more money, or is one of the joys it was made on a small budget and it was made over 12 years?
No, it exactly. It did. It said what it did what it said on the tin, and it needed to be a kind of smaller budget film to have done so well. Although actually, it's only grossed at the moment 25 million, despite the critical acclaim, which is
five times its budget.
Yeah, but that still means that not many people went to watch.
It's definitely not big bucks compared to what we're going to get onto shortly. In fact, actually, what we're going to get onto next, which will do the highest budget film of the nominations, which is American Sniper, which came in at 58 million. And obviously, for reference point, we had Boyhood that's taken 25 million, whereas American Sniper has taken 286 million.
Well, yeah.
So we're talking about a far larger margin here.
Yeah, I watched it again
not
today.
A multiple though, not a multiple. It's about the same multiple of 5 times.
Yeah,
we're not far off, but obviously relative. there's a lot more money there going back into the production company. And obviously, I'm sure Clint Eastwood is very happy with those numbers. But American Sniper, could they have basically just blown a lot more stuff up for 250 million?
I don't know, but I would have liked to have seen a few more scenes at the end of that story, which would have taken a bit more money. It was a bit difficult. I don't want to plot spoil, but it would have been a bit difficult with members of Chris Kyle's family still being very much alive. But it could have ended up on a DVD extras or something. So he didn't. He did a very good job of recreating an Iraqi city. Basically,
you don't reckon he could have actually?
That's
with
where the money went.
Yeah,
I think.
So you don't think he could have like completely demolished an even bigger city and then probably rebuilt the whole thing much better with that kind of money?
Well, he could have put in the background. Yeah, he could have put it in.
He could have demolished all the old.
Yeah,
you could have come in with your $250 million. Gone, guys. I'm going to blow up your town. That's going to cost me $100 million. But then don't worry, I've got another $150 million. I can rebuild it for you. We'll have nice air-conditioned houses everywhere. Put some nice roads in.
Yeah, he could have.
He could have been.
He could have been generally nicer to the Iraqi people, probably.
Rather than just sort of saying, "I want to blow up this bit of town." Be very sort of philanthropic about it, and potentially built them a far better town.
I don't know. I don't know if it was a set or where he went for that. Actually, I like I say, I watched it today, and I thought that's where the money went. But yes,
quite a big clean-up job afterwards.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of rubble around. An awful lot of rubble.
Cool. So obviously, main question: 58 million for the budget. We're basically saying he could have maybe done with a little bit more money to add a few more scenes, perhaps, but fundamentally, pretty much again on the mark for.
Yeah. I was sort of, except for the location, I was sort of surprised that it cost that much, and it's been quite a nice sense that so many of these nominated films cost so little, as we'll get on.
Well, exactly, as all we'll do after American Sniper. So the next one we'll look at then is The Imitation Game, which was 14 million on the budget.
A meagre 14.
A meagre 14. Did you see where the money went, and what is there much they could have done if they had that extra money? I mean, what do you think?
Unlimited. I mean, we're talking sort of Titanic.
We're talking extra
budgets.
236 million.
Other
more.
than some big dream sequence somewhere in the middle where Alan Turing
goes to space.
Alan Turing's on a huge ship that then gets sunk when it hits an iceberg and it is overrun by a huge amount of CGI hobbits. I don't know where it would have gone. Really. The one thing about that film that I'm kind of interested in is there's 4 quite big stars in there. Yeah. Cumberbatch, I mean, he's not quite Brad Pitt, but Cumberbatch, Keira Knightley, Mark Strong, and Charles Dance. And and presumably they charge a reasonable amount of money. But I wonder whether, being an English film, that they
lowered their fees slightly.
It was basically, give you £100 spending money and a trailer for each week, and they probably got a little bit of a percentage thing. I'd imagine that was the kind of deal. So that would keep the cost down, and they'll have done quite well. It made $76 million.
So it's a very, very good return
at the moment.
And I guess we're therefore saying that The Imitation Game, again, you could throw more money at it, but it wouldn't improve the film.
No, I don't think it was. No, I don't think you could. Yeah.
No, and then strangely enough, the other big English film of the year, The Theory of Everything, only 1 million more, 50 million, slightly cheaper cast potentially.
Yeah.
Again, if someone chucked another 100-200 million at it, would anything?
The only thing I would think of is to pay Stephen Hawking to be in it.
You reckon 200 million for Stephen Hawking to turn up?
Just in the background, like as an
extra.
Yeah.
Or just hope you don't notice the man
that would be
in the
really
wheelchair.
Cool. Actually, you pay him lots of money just to be in the background because he's quite a dude. Yeah.
Yeah, I would. do you reckon they'd still leave him in the chair? Like, 'cause I mean, surely that's going to be the strangest thing if Stephen Hawkins is like going down the street and sees another guy in the same chair as him with the same voice. Do you reckon they'd have a conversation or just like slide by one another and pretend it never happened?
We're just talking about somebody who's got a stupid amount of money and just go, to hell with it. We're just going to get Stephen Hawkins
or maybe
pay
like
him to
maybe his
come
sort
over.
of wheelchair will have a bunch of sort of bionic enhancements where he can sort of then go on a sort of an action movie thing. Have some rocket launchers.
Or a
fly.
dream sequence where Stephen Hawking is with a load of hobbits and maybe
fights a giant
huge
dragon
cruise ship.
Fights a giant dragon.
Yes.
Stephen Hawking. He goes to MI5. He gets a load of modifications to his chair.
Bit in the middle of the film.
And then a bit like Rambo taking on the whole Vietnamese army.
Yeah.
He takes on all of Middle Earth with his sort of enhanced wheelchair killing device.
Okay. Sort of like a little mini film in the middle.
Yeah, just where he goes off and does that.
Yeah.
And then he comes back and gets back to the physics. Doesn't tell anyone about it. Perfect. So we've managed to spend the money there, and I think it would be a much better film.
Or at least on the DVD extras.
Yeah, we had to cut this section. It wasn't narrative. It didn't quite hang together.
yeah. Actually, that'd be good. Just a really big DVD section. On
$200 million worth of DVD extras.
Yeah, with Stephen Hawking as the action hero. Yeah.
Okay. So next on the list is Selma. That was a $20 million film, which I think probably do you have some interesting things to say about its script, actually. Could they have bought... Well, I'll let you explain about that, and I think that's somewhere where money may have been able to be spent.
Yes, that's exactly right. If they did have more money, they would spend it possibly on regaining the rights of the original Martin Luther King scripts that Steven Spielberg owns, because he's got this idea that he might make a full-on biopic of the chap, and so that would where the money would go, I guess, and it would possibly take 200 million to dissuade Spielberg to hand over the rights. He'd probably want a little producer deal or something. But
all the things. Basically, he needs enough money to say, I wouldn't make this money myself doing this film with these speeches in it, basically.
Yeah.
So should we leave that one there and just basically say we reckon Spielberg would want so much money that it would make this film unbelievably high budget just for that sole fact. And would that, I don't know, would that improve the film noticeably, or were you happy enough with the speeches as they were? Was 20 million? They write their own stuff.
No, they were very good. It was very good. It kind of made it more realistic because it wasn't that the speeches you've heard. I Have a Dream, etc.
So we'll leave it to Spielberg to come out with his biopic in
I don't know how he'll do that now. But
see if he gets a Best Picture nomination.
It'd probably take if somebody offered me 200 million to pass over, having made a very decent film on the same subject, I think I'd take it, frankly.
But you're not Steven Spielberg with his
I'm
massive bank balance. Okay, so one of the big American, should we call it an action film? Just about, I guess.
Yeah, sort of, yes.
We'll look at Birdman. Anyway, 22 million. Could they have just megaed up the CGI for another 200 and a bit million?
Well, for 200 more million, they could have...
a bunch of cameos. Had like Sylvester Stallone wandering in.
Yeah, they could have paid him.
Maybe gone to Marvel and hired some other superheroes. Had like Birdman and then the odd cameo of like Spider-Man and Batman and the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, or they could have properly built, medically built some proper wings on Michael Keaton. For 200 million,
would it be a permanent enhancement? Do you reckon he'd be coming
they'd have had to take it off, so that would have been a part of the cost. But
not just offered Michael Keaton the chance for some real wings, and then it comes to awards season, he has to get up and accept his awards with a giant pair of wings.
Yeah, exactly.
And then fly after thanking the audience, just flies off into the distance.
Yeah, exactly. He might have taken the option of keeping the wings. That would have been up to him.
Okay, and would that have made a better film if Michael Keaton got real wings and could definitely fly?
Yeah, I'd have definitely
be worth tuning into the Oscars for, to see Michael Keaton flying
exactly.
down the red carpet.
I'd have absolutely gone for it. I think that would have been the difference between the fact that Birdman won't win the best Oscar, but it would have done if he had real wings.
Cool. So, the penultimate number is Whiplash, which, I mean, even more meagre than Boyhood.
God, yes.
A pitiful, puny, minuscule $3.5 million.
Yeah.
What do you reckon? Another 200 odd million
Well,
on top of
if
that,
you had it,
240 odd million.
You'd have had solid gold drumsticks to start, quite a few pairs, and then you'd have had and I did think you'd have had a dream sequence in the middle. I'm
getting a feel that dream sequence is the ideal way to spend big bucks.
Well, yeah, of course. I'm in Terry Gilliam mode. Dream sequence somewhere in the middle where he'd have actually run round the world. And you'd have had to fly him to all the locations, and it would have
also like a European, like worldwide tour.
Yeah, just run, and that would have expressed his enthusiasm for rhythm of the world, etc.
And they've got to pay for the extras in every single venue. He visits like 10
people like
stadiums.
Usain Bolt, which he would have obviously been beating in the sense of how excited he is and how well he's going to do at his drumming. So they'd pay lots of extras, lots of flights, and big cost there.
So basically, we could probably spend it on so you can go to like a stadium that holds like 200,000 people, and you can then pay for 200,000 extras.
Yeah,
and that might take up the budget.
Yeah,
and would that
just running
strange
through
enough actually?
stadium.
Well, no, even just like the sections where he's playing the drums. If he's doing
in the stadium,
he's doing a world tour.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You hire whatever the really big dome in Japan that holds like 150,000 people. You then pay 150,000 extras to turn up.
Yeah,
that could probably spend the money. And the question is, actually, might that have made it a better film if they'd funded all of this?
I like the idea of a dream sequence in that because it's very tight, and it would have just been a nice relief in the middle. So if I'd been the director with $200 million, I'd have put my dream sequence.
You'd have put your dream sequence in the middle.
I've gone all out.
Strangely enough, then the last one is the Grand Budapest Hotel, where I mean it is almost a dream sequence in itself. I'm going to put one to you. Right, it was it was $30 million budget.
Yeah.
What if it was set in the future, a dystopian world?
Right.
And that that would probably cost like going back to Terry Gilliam, like Brazil or something like that, 1984. But it's just this little weird hotel in the middle of a dystopian futuristic society.
What? So you'd have had lots of sort of space scenes,
robots, talking televisions, lots of kind of like pipes, lots of chrome.
And
it's just this sort of the hotel's just existing in this peculiar sort of paradise in this wider world, dystopian world.
Yeah.
What do you reckon?
That would put the cost up a bit. There was also one scene where it's kind of CGI'd, where it would have been nice to see it real, and that would have cost a bit more when they're in the snow, when they're racing down the snow. Yeah. But I do like the whole take it out to another world.
put it in another universe.
Yeah.
$200 million worth of universe.
But God, CGI, they've got to get it right. You go back to the Hobbit.
What if you put the Grand Budapest Hotel like a new colony on Mars, and they were like the first people to colonize?
So
it was like a planet. It's like a hotel on Mars. Like humans have colonized Mars in the future, and this is a hotel on Mars. Yeah,
but not just CGI. Just make a new planet.
Just make a new planet. Build one.
And go and film there.
Yeah.
That would cost quite a few quid.
Do you reckon it'd improve the film? Ralph Fiennes in outer space.
It'd probably about.
I think Wes Anderson could do quite a fun job with it.
I think it was a lovely film, so I can't say it would improve it necessarily.
Okay, cool. So
I'd have liked to see the snow run being real.
Okay, so that might put it up from 30 million to like 31 million.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
We're not talking
well
big. We're not talking big cheese here.
Very well on that one.
Okay. So
we could have a dream sequence in the middle with a huge cruise ship that gets sunk by hitting an iceberg.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
That would. And it had Kate Winslet and Leonardo DiCaprio at the front because they cost a few quid.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would
probably take up the
budget. I don't know who would have that dream sequence.
No.
Be a bit random.
Well, unless the hotel was on the cruise liner. But the hotel is Grand Budapest Hotel is on Titanic.
Everybody very confused.
Yeah.
But it might work. It might work. As long as Ralph Fiennes was there, Ray Fiennes was there, it would be fine because he would conduct everything.
Yeah. Would he go down with the ship?
He would probably with a sort of a very eloquent quip.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So I think having gone through the list, can we generally surmise that none of these films would be better if they were given $250 million?
Basically, no.
They've all done very well for their money, and they don't need improvement particularly.
No.
Okay, so essentially, I mean, the one that seems to Whiplash has done probably the best, $3.5 million for its money. Or would you say Boyhood's done the best for its money at $4 million? Or would you go a bit higher up and say something like Imitation Game, or even the big spender American Sniper? Which one's best value?
Probably Whiplash, actually, although it didn't take very much, which is a shame. But that's probably as much to do with they had a lot of this to do with marketing, and they probably had very little marketing, and particularly in America, I imagine.
So we're not just talking small budget; we're talking small marketing as well.
Yeah, it takes an awful lot to go to let people know and to push people to go to the cinema that aren't already interested in the cinema.
Okay, so we'll say out of this list we've gone through, then Whiplash is the best film in relation to its budget. Should we say? No.
Yeah, well, no.
Or were you going with Birdman? Were you surprised it was only 22?
I'd possibly go to Imitation Game, actually.
Okay. Going
back to what I said about the fact that I've seen it a few times, and it's nice to see that it was only 14 million, which is very little for a modern film, and it's done relatively well, and it will continue to do well. Although yes, it won't win the best Oscar, but it'll be close.
Cool. Okay, so I think this is probably our last broadcast before the Oscars, which are this weekend, in fact. So we'll probably have an Oscar reaction uploaded some point next week when we can get round to doing it. I think we're just going to go out on a feature which I'm going to throw at Toby because I think it could be quite fun, which is Guess the Dress.
Throw me a feature.
Guess the dress.
Right, throw me a dress. Right.
Throw you a dress.
So
what I'm going to
my size?
What I'm going So what I'm thinking I'm going to do, Toby, is I'm going to go through the actresses, best actress and best supporting actress, and simply I just want like one word answers of like maybe what type, but mostly just what colour dress they're going to wear.
Okay, well I do want to have it. I have an admission here.
Okay.
In our last podcast, I did mistakenly remember a couple of dresses completely wrong, which a listener has.
You're never going to be a journalist of Hello Standard.
No, hopefully I'm a better film reviewer than dress reviewer or women reviewer. I've always been rubbish.
Can you remember? Can you make these amendments?
Yeah. Kristen Scott Thomas was not wearing a silvery, glittery dress. She was wearing a black dress. So I don't know what happened there.
Was anyone wearing a silvery, glittery dress?
I don't know. I'm not going. I'm not going to make my mistakes worse. And also, Reese Witherspoon was wearing a purple dress, not a green dress. So I went. Aren't they opposite colours, more or less?
So, if anything, we could be more accurate in this thing. On the one where you watched it,
I'll do some more research.
Still got the dress colours wrong.
So what's
this
the
one?
questions?
Okay, so basically, I'm going to read out the actresses in order. Okay. You guess the dress.
I'm going to
and then we will come back to it on our reaction broadcast and see how many dresses Toby guessed.
Yeah. Okay.
So we'll go down best actress. So
I'm going to concentrate.
Marion Cotillard. What colour?
Red.
Okay. Rosamund Pike.
Sort of white.
White. Okay. Felicity Jones.
Kind of gold.
Gotta go. Reese Witherspoon.
Got gold. Oh, sorry.
Reese Witherspoon.
Okay, I'm gonna go for green.
Green. Okay,
Yeah,
right. Julianne Moore.
She won't go for that red one again. I did get that one. Okay, I'm gonna go for. No, I'm gonna go for red.
You're gonna go red again.
Yeah,
Okay.
She's fixated on red. Yeah.
Okay. Patricia Arquette.
Just let me hold.
Toby's here with his head in his hands, contemplating unbelievably hard, trying to predict the future.
Oh, Patricia Arquette. Yeah, I want to get this one right.
Cream.
I'm thinking blue.
You're thinking blue, right? Emma Stone.
I'm thinking gold again. Actually,
Gold again.
yeah.
Okay. Laura Dern. Have we had any blacks yet?
That's a good point.
No black dresses.
I'm gonna go for black.
You're going to go black. Don't know that I'm implanting the ideas in your head.
You're like that.
Well,
guy.
Darren Brown.
Yeah, Darren
Apart from
Brown
a very crude one.
Yes, yes. It'd be like rubbish.
Right, you're going to say black. Tell me black.
Black with spots.
Right, Meryl Streep. Pinstripe.
God, purple.
Purple, and lastly, Keira Knightley.
God, this is hard. This is really hard. This is the hardest question you've asked me. Kieran Knightley. Okay, I'm gonna get this one right. Yeah, kind of cream with goldy spots.
That's very detailed.
Yeah.
So when we get back to you next time, then we are going to find out how many Toby got right.
Yeah, that.
What do you reckon? You confident you're going to get 100%?
I 80.
80%. Right. Okay. So we've got. He's laid it down. We're going for an 80% success rate on guess the dress. We'll find out next time. Right. Goodbye, everyone.
Yeah. Cheers.